Um,
Welcome, everybody, to today's webinar from Patty Wass, who we're going to hear from in a few moments. I just did want to share something about SCORE. Some of you know about SCORE, some of you don't know about SCORE. So what is SCORE? So SCORE is a resource partner for the SBA. And as a volunteer, our job is to help people start, grow, or after COVID, actually stay in business. And we are a group of volunteers all throughout the whole country. And we offer free business mentoring. It could be anything from, hey, I want to start a business, to I'm in a business and I'm stuck and I don't know where to go. And most business owners don't know everything. So by utilizing SCORE, you could have a very specialized mentor help you confidentially to get through there. You know, talking to a neighbor or a friend isn't going to be the same as talking to a business owner or a business leader. And since we are now all over the country, wherever you live, we can get a mentor that's going to be able to help you. So SCORE Mentors is here to help. Today, I wanted to once again introduce you. I know a lot of people follow Patty Wass, who's one of our premier webinar hosts. And Patty is head of Garden. Nope, I say this every time, not Garden State Marketing, but Golden State Marketing. Patty has going to be, she's agreed to give us a once a month webinar series, which I call her residency. Patty gets the best responses, all the positive comments. And after today's webinar, the next day or two, you're going to get all the slides, you're going to get YouTube videos. So if you're unable to attend the whole meeting, we hope that you stay here, but that's okay. And if you register for one of Patty's webinars and something happens, you can't attend it in person, that's okay, because you'll get it afterwards. So with that, I'd like to introduce Patty Wass for those who don't know, and I'll let Patty take it away.
All right, thank you very much for that introduction. Let me get my slides up, which I do have. So give me 1 second. And okay, get rid of this Zoom stuff here. And slideshow. There we go. Okay, everybody seen Marketing Plan 101? All good? See the screen? Yes. Okay, perfect. So yes, welcome everyone. I know, as Bill said, that some of you have followed me around, so you already know me, but for those that are new to me, I've been in the online space, as you see here, since '98. Gourmet gift basket company I worked with that was just at that time a traditional catalog and retailer in the San Francisco Bay Area. Started their e-commerce business back in the pioneer days of e-commerce and brought it to $1 million plus part of their business. I've been in the wine industry now for, this is year 19 as of this month, actually. So I always at least have one winery client in my portfolio, but I do work with all types of clients, as you see here, whether it's business to business or business to consumer. I'm a marketing advisor for our local area Chamber of Commerce, and I do teach for SCORE chapters like Mama and others all over the country, as well as SCORE National. So you probably will see me somewhere around the country and at any given day and any given week. So that is me. Now you guys get to share, and we have both chat and Q&A because this is a webinar format. So keep questions in the Q&A and any comments in the chat. So in the chat file or the chat box today, please share, what does your business do? Who do you help? Who's your ideal client? And then are you business to consumer, business to business, or both? So put it all in one chat message so I can see it all together. I might wind up using it in examples during the class. So, and if you want to also include where you're dialing in from, where are you in this country, would be great. So just start sharing in the chat file, not in the Q&A, but in the chat. And I'll start reading those as they come in. So go ahead and share. We got about 38 people in here. So good. Connecticut. All right. Okay. So perfect. Keep sharing. I'm going to keep on going as you share. And let me just move my boxes over so I can actually see my slides. There we go. Put that up there. All right. That little, I wish that Zoom box thing was a different, you know, I can move it around. It's like never in the right place. Okay. So a lot of you have seen this slide if you've attended any of my classes, but the world of marketing and advertising, really, like where do you go? Where do you spend your time and money for your business in this world, right? We have kind of the traditional side, TV, radio, print ads, billboards, PR, promotional products, networking, right? Whether in person or online, that's part of your marketing. And you can even do some networking here in the chat if you want. in between you sharing your information, but you have 60 business owners in the room. You might want to do business with each other or collaborate in some way. So if you want to share your LinkedIn, email, website, whatever you feel like sharing with other people, and let us know what you do. I shop via the chat sometimes too. So, and then of course, on the other flip side, the newer side of marketing advertising, digital, right? So which websites, internet ads came after that. Social media is about 20 years old now, unbelievably. Email marketing about the same. Search engine optimization came with websites. Text and Wi-Fi marketing a little bit newer in the scene here. Social media influencers. So there's a lot of places to potentially spend your advertising and marketing dollars and time, right? So I'm sure that's why you're attending today, to figure out where do you go, right? So we're going to try to figure that out today, hopefully. So as Ben Franklin says, if you fail to plan, you're already planning to fail, right? We don't want to have this marketing plan. It's called throw your spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. Bad plan. We don't want to have this plan. It's called what we call marketing spray and pray, right? You fling the arrows or shoot the bullets at the bullseye and pray that you get that bullseye. But all of these holes represent your time and money, right? And so I don't like to waste either one of those. I know you probably don't either. So let's not do those plans. Those are bad plans. So let's actually have a plan in place. So why do you need to have a marketing plan? Well, of course, I just mentioned, right? No spaghetti. It's a verb now. No spaghettiing, no spraying and praying, right? Don't want that. It creates consistency, right? Marketing is all about telling people what you do consistently. So we want to make sure that if you have a plan in place, you can be more consistent, right? And then it just encourages deeper thought about your business and marketing. So things change in this world, right? It seems like daily, right? We have weather can change things, the economy, right? Technology can change things. So customers' attitude about your business or service, can change things. So really kind of looking back, probably at least annually, if not longer, like even the pandemic changed things for certain businesses and how you do business now, right? Even here now we're doing a webinar when everything else was live before. So really making those adjustments for your business and looking at that. If you have staff, always a good idea to be walking the same walk and talking the same talk, right? And then just improves your chances of actually accomplishing your marketing goals if you write them down. So hopefully you'll do that after the class. You'll get an opportunity to do that. So a lot of you have seen this in other classes where I say, well, I'm just showing this to you, but we're not really going to go deep in that class. But today, this is the one that we do go deep. So we're going to talk about setting goals. Number two, most important part of the marketing plan, I believe, is who your customers are. If you don't have that dialed in, none of the other part of the marketing plan matters. You're going to be talking to wrong people, putting all your efforts to the wrong audience, and none of it will make sense. So that's the key. So we'll spend time on that. Talk about SWOT analysis and competitor analysis, unique selling propositions, branding, making sure you're telling the right story to the right people. And then number 5 is the one today we're not talking about. That's the other classes like social media and email marketing and all that. So attend those other ones. I'm in residence here, so you'll see them on my calendar somewhere. Having a plan in place. Who's going to do it? How are you going to do it? What tools do you need and budget, et cetera? I'll talk a little bit about that. And then just knowing that you need to measure and optimize. Is any of this actually working once you start doing it, right? You don't know. I'm sure most of us are not doing it for a hobby. We want to actually make some money at this. So you need to actually see if this is making you money or not, right? So the first step, and just let me step back one quick second. When we are recording this, you are going to get the recording, the content calendar. I talked about the slides. You're also going to get my marketing plan worksheets to download, and that will come after the class. They'll follow along on what you're learning here, and you can review the recording again. I encourage all of you to print them out and fill them out, and if you haven't done it before, if you have done it before, do it again. Some of you may have done a full business plan that usually includes marketing in it, but go ahead and fill it out. It will follow along on here as well. And I know SCORE, if you haven't done a full business plan, SCORE can help you with that. Find a mentor. They have I think they have a template you can download as well on any of the SCORE websites, but encourage you to use a mentor too to help you walk through a full business plan. So, but definitely use the marketing plan worksheets once you've attended the class here. So what are business goals versus marketing goals, right? Little bit different, and marketing goals will be based on your business goals, right? So business goals generally are what type of sales growth you need to have, what kind of market share you might have, how big your deals should be, the number of deals, a geographical reach, employee growth, if you have employees, and how you need to scale your business, what type of assets you need to obtain, whether, I need to get a building or, delivery vans or whatever it is that you need for assets. So overall, right, and marketing is going to help you reach those goals. It should, marketing and advertising, so to make you money so you can grow and bring on more people and more assets, right? So marketing goals generally are talking about getting leads for your business, right? Getting clients, getting prospects engaged, what type of media coverage, what new channels, advertising and marketing channels you're going to be on, and of course, what the sales conversion is, right? So you should be looking overall at your marketing goals or your business goals, and then also within that, your marketing goals to achieve your business goals, right? So has anybody here, raise your hand, digitally, or say yes in chat. Anybody ever do SMART goals before? Heard of the concept? Nobody? Okay. So SMART goals is just one way to set up goals, right? So it's the acronym here, as you can see: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based, right? So specific is you need to be obviously clear on what you need to accomplish. It should be a measurable, number. Want to go from 50 to 100 leads per month. Goals should be, like it says, too easy, not too easy or not too hard. They can be ambitious, but not too ambitious. Don't say I'm going to go from 1 lead to 1,000 next month, right? That's a little pie in the sky, but make them achievable so you and your team do not get frustrated about never reaching your goals because they're too high. Should be relevant to your business, right? And of course, setting a time base on it as well. So what does that look like? So here's some examples of what a SMART goal, and you can have multiple SMART goals. Doesn't have to be one big overarching goal. You'll see here, there are some specific ones based on what you're doing. One is we want to obtain 2,000 new email newsletter signups. Okay. So measurable is track the number of new signups via their email marketing platform. So they'll have a way to measure. Achievable, they'll offer incentives for signing up for the newsletter, discounts, etc. It's relevant because email marketing is a proven method to acquire new customers. It actually has the best ROI of any marketing tool out there. So attend my email marketing class. And then time bound, we're going to reach this goal within 5 months. So is that what 400 per month they want their goal is? And they have to determine, is that realistic? Right? Do they have, I would suggest, would they have any proven numbers before? Are they at 200 now per month and they want to go to 400? Or are they starting from 0? So as long as they figured out this is obtainable and not too lofty of a goal. And then the other one, second example here, we want to expand customer base by 15% through targeted social media advertising, right? They're going to measure it by monitoring the ad analytics to measure the increase in new customers. They're going to create engaging targeted ads for various social media platforms. That's how it's achievable. And it's relevant because social media advertising is effective, not as effective as email marketing. It's like double. And time bound, we're going to achieve this for the next 3 months. So you can see here, you can set multiple smaller goals. They can be specific SMART goals from your marketing, for your other business activities that you do. Maybe you have a sales team. So you want to be as specific as possible, measure it. It's achievable. It's not too lofty of a goal. It's relevant to your business, and do put a time cap on it. So you're not like, well, just eventually, we'll get that number. But always make that time even realistic. And so it's not like we're gonna, like I said, go from 1 to 1,000 in 30 days, unless you really have a dialed in plan for that to happen. So lucky you, right? So buyer personas here. And actually, before we go on to this part, I'm just gonna take a quick look at the chat. And if let's see, I think we've still have the same amount of people. If you haven't shared in the chat what you do, who you help, and if you're business to business or business to consumer. So I see some of you've already put that in there. So who do we have? We have, let's see where people are coming in from. So we have an actor, let's see, director, I think. I'm not sure what CD this is. Alkaline water business, Christian life coaching, writing and publishing business, accountant to help small businesses. But I'm sure some of you might need that. So, from New Jersey, educate on personal finances, marketing assistant, insurance broker. So a good amount of different types of business. Counseling, private practice. Anybody here, just Kumar Consulting IT, anybody here work in the senior market by chance? Help people, seniors like 65 plus. Let me know, just say yes in the chat if there is, and we just haven't said anything yet. Okay, perfect. Thank you for everybody for sharing. Got some insurance, full service law firm. Let's see. Clinic, college admissions and scholarship assistance. All right, perfect. Nonprofit. So William, was that a yes to the senior? If you are in the senior market, would you just mind sharing exactly what you do? Because I might use that as an example shortly for that. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, just share it. William, if that was a yes to the senior market, please share what you do. That would be appreciated. So buyer personas, like I already said, right? Most important part of the marketing plan. Here again, if you don't have it dialed in, right? If you say, well, I can help everybody, sometimes that means you can help nobody, right? Because your marketing message is so broad and it's not really appealing to anybody in particular. You know, some of you might be perfect Medicare Advantage plans. Okay, pin that thought there, William. I'm going to talk about that. So you really want to have this dialed in to exactly who your customer is, right? So who is your customer, right? And as Steph said, everyone is not your customer. And so William, right? He's dealing with Medicare, 65 plus is Medicare. So is everybody within that 65 plus his customer? Potentially, you know, if everybody qualifies for Medicare at that age, maybe there's different types of customers within that age range that would be better suited customer for him. But I'm going to mention that one shortly because he has a couple of different potential customers there. So I always use this. Are you fishing in the ocean or fishing in the pond? Right. So what I mean by that is that everybody says, I can help everybody, right? You're fishing in the ocean. But really, some of us should really be fishing in a pond. So I just use my business as an example, right? I do marketing. I really could help all of you with marketing. As you saw on my bio slide, I've done B2B, B2C, I've done legal, financial, medical. You know, I might not have done your exact industry, but you know, I educate myself when I do it, right? Or I could say, you know, I only work with businesses that, you know, don't have a marketing person on staff. They are a business owner was overwhelmed by all their marketing and they want me to take it over kind of thing. Or I could say, you know what, I'm only going to work with wineries, or I'm going to do marketing for insurance agents, or, you know, again, I can niche it down into a pond rather than saying, okay, really, I can help everybody, right? So sometimes with trying to help everybody, again, you're helping nobody because your messaging is not targeting anybody, right? So usually in the marketing plan, you want to build some buyer personas. And what buyer personas are, just kind of a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer, kind of based on real customers if you have them, and some market research, okay? And so what is a persona versus a target audience? Right. So a persona is an individual person, a specific character or definition, right? So here on the left, we have Jake, 33-year-old marketing manager, works for a large company. He's a postgraduate digital marketing. He has a family with kid. He likes jazz, you know, so we're building up a whole story behind him and what he does. His board, you know, that he works for is a little bit, you know, seem behind the times. He really wants to up their game digitally. I've had this situation before. You know, so more specific definition, person. Target audience is kind of general, right? It's a broad definition. You don't really tell a lot about their habits, who they are. Marketing managers between 30 and 45. They work for big companies. Their salary range is right? They don't spend much time online, which is weird for marketing people. But again, more broad definition of your audience. So why are creating buyer personas important for your business? Of course, have a better understanding of your customers, right? They allow you to look at your individual customers' needs, their motivations, behaviors, what makes them tick, really, is what we're trying to say, what makes them tick enough to buy. So then you can tailor those marketing strategies specific to them and their needs. Again, some of you might have multiple audiences and they might need different types of marketing to them. And I'm going to go back to William in a second, because that's a perfect example. Definitely could improve your product development. So once you're understanding those personas and what they specifically need, you can then tailor even your product or service. That means definitely increase your sales efficiency. If you do have a sales team, they can better understand who your buyers are, right? Again, if their sales team is kind of fishing in the ocean, right? Where do they start fishing? How do they talk to people different? Everybody's going to be different on their needs. And then just hopefully better customer satisfaction retention if you are meeting their specific needs out there. So how to find customers to create buyer persona, or data, I should say, how to find that data. How do you create buyer personas? So you could, this is all going to be different for each of you, of course, on what information you gather. Some of you might not have any customers at all yet, might be brand new. Some might have customers and you should be able to gather some general data about them. Not that every single customer that walks in your door, proverbial door as well, you tie them down and go, are you married? Do you have children? Where do you live? What's going, we don't usually do that. Some people might have more data on their customers than other, but you get some general idea, right? So you could carry out customer interviews or surveys to ask them, and maybe give them some type of incentive to do that. What makes them tick? Get insights from your sales team if you have a sales team. There's plenty of digital data out there, good and bad, right? But a lot of you might have, say insurance industry, going back to, well, I'm going to pick on William today with the Medicare, right? There's tons of information out there he could find on Medicare customers and market research. And obviously that one's a little bit easier because you only can service, right? Only people can use that product is 65 plus. But there is plenty of digital information out there. Some of you might be in associations or industry related groups. I taught a marketing plan class for what was it called? American Appraisers Association. So people who do appraisers for art and jewelry and things like that, they actually have an association, so they could get data from them. Chambers, your local trade groups as well. Chambers have a lot of, say, business data about your local community. If you are geographically based, meaning you service customers in a certain area where a chamber is. Doing that extra market research, again, by going online and checking trade groups and things like that. Looking at the bigger industry players in your space. What does it look like for them? Who are they appear to be catering to? Is it similar to yours, right? Social media, right? Facebook Insights, all of the platforms, most have demographics on there, but Facebook tells you like what age ranges follow your pages if you have a Facebook page. So you can get some demographic information there. And of course, you can ask the robots now. Anybody here use ChatGPT? Just raise your hand, say yes in chat. Yes. Okay, so we have one. So, and this is the paid version. And I'm going to stop here and get on a soapbox for a quick second about ChatGPT. The paid version is $20, folks. Okay, totally worth it to do the paid version now, because the paid version allows you to have plugins. They did briefly have the ability to use Bing to browse the web. That was knocked off about a month ago, shortly after it had launched, because they found it was doing some copyright infringement. There is still a way to browse the web, but on the free version, you cannot. Okay, free version, it's 2021 and back. There's no web browsing on it. And I'm teaching a class on marketing for AI. There's a lot of uses for it. Can help build buyer personas, as you'll see here. So I always recommend don't hem and haw about paying for ChatGPT. There are a lot of other tools out there, but I stick with this one because it gives me the best answers. and the information I want. Some other ones don't give me any information. So I always say relent and pay the $20 a month because it's totally worth it. So for those of you that will pay, you can go to ChatGPT on the paid version. You will need to, in order to do this prompt I have here, you will need to, once you pay, you go to the, and I'm going to show the screen. I'm going to go back. I'll come back again. So when you go to ChatGPT on the paid version, you're going to go down, do the drop down, and instead of it being the default, you're going to show the plugins. And you're going to go to the plugin store and you're going to grab the one called Web Pilot. And then once you have it installed and you have it checked off on there and you make sure you have that chosen, then you're going to go back to this prompt, okay, and type that in. So based solely, you want to make sure you have the word solely, because sometimes if you put the, even if I have my website address there, it might look at other marketing websites out there and pull in information. So I always put based solely on the content on this website. And you want to have the full URL, the HTTPS, www, all that, not just goldenstatemarketing.net. You need to have the entire URL. Okay. Who is the ideal client for this business based on what you read on the website? Now, if it's reading the website correctly, it should, in the case of mine, should say, you know, people who are looking for marketing services such as email marketing, social media management, promotional products, etc. It's going to, you try that. It will pull in the right information. If it doesn't pull the right information for your website, could be ChatGPT. It also could be your website. There might not be content to pull information to determine. And that might be a good learning lesson for you to figure out, like, is it speaking to my ideal client with what I have in there? If ChatGPT can't find information on your site, is there enough actual written content on there to explain what you do? I did this with, it was a jewelry appraiser. It was when I was working, did the appraiser conference, and her website came up. There was a lot of content on the site. It was very clear. She does jewelry appraising in Los Angeles. But when we did this exercise, it came up with, she does web design and SEO and web development. It was like totally reading the wrong site. I don't know if it had something to do with whoever built her website. So again, it could be ChatGPT, but also could be the website. And I would always err on the side of caution and make sure that, do you have content on there? So if it does read it correctly, you can then follow up in that same chat message and just say, now build me 5 buyer personas based on the above info, or however many you want. I just say do 5. But try that out. And sometimes it will build the very specific ones, like I'm going to show you. It'll assign it a name on there as well. And some of the buyer personas might make sense. You know, some might be stronger personas than others, but it's just based on the information that it's reading, it builds those buyer personas. So you can play with ChatGPT. Again, I'm going to be teaching a marketing for AI class with SCORE National on September 7th. If you want to, and I'll be doing live prompts on various parts of marketing to help. And I do use that buyer persona one as well. So try it out. Try out the robots. Okay, so I showed you that already. So it's kind of 5 simple questions to ask about your buyers, not ask your buyers. What are the values of this audience, right? Is your audience stay-at-home moms who may be more budget conscious, not always, versus a corporate executive who may have a more luxury lifestyle, as an example? How would you appeal to these different types? As you would, right? Appeal to them differently. What are the pain points? Is a need versus a want, right? So HVAC service, right? It's 100 degrees outside. My air conditioning breaks down. I need, I'd like to save money, but I really need to cool down, right? So at that point, am I going to go look and say, where can I find, cheap deals on HVAC service? Well, I probably would, but I'm like, if you can come right now, if you could come yesterday to fix it, that would supersede the money thing. I'll pay extra to be out of this 100-degree heat with no air conditioning, right? And how are they going to take in this information? Are they going to be at home? It's an iPad on the sofa, maybe riding, on a bus to work, maybe waiting in the doctor's office, looking at their phone. Where do you imagine that they're going to get this information from? And do they want to be talked to or talked with, right? So conversational or clear instructions. So I always use the analogy for details are bottom line. My boss, my only boss in the wine industry, my first and only boss, would always say to us, "Don't tell me about the labor pains, just show me the baby." Right? So some of us are baby people, some of us are labor pains, right? So maybe you have to have both, right? So if I'm a baby person, I want bottom line it. I don't need to hear all, usually don't have to hear all the labor pains, all the details on how to get there. Just, give me the bottom line. If only if my boyfriend could remember that. He likes to share all the labor pains. But you might want to have some marketing messaging around labor pain people and baby people, right? So that you're not losing them, either like getting them right to where they want to go, or somebody who needs to know all the details before they make a decision. So having that in mind with your buyers. And then what action do you want the buyer to take? Are you trying to get a direct sale, or are you just planting a seed at that point? So making sure you're clear on what your call to action is at that time, right? So some things to think about when you're building buyer personas. So B2B versus B2C. I think some of you said you are B2C, some are B2B, and some might be both, just kind of going backwards here. So a little bit different on how you're dealing with them, right? So when it comes to business, it's all about building those relationships with your audience. And usually they tend to be more of a niche audience than a broad, even though I say not the whole ocean, but it tends to be broader. It might be, I only am looking to talk to environmental engineers, or CEOs of transportation logistics companies or something. So it might be very specific, and you need to build relationships to find those people, right? You're sharing your expertise with them because, right, they're more rationally driven. So they're looking for that expertise. Again, focusing on a niche market tends to be a longer selling cycle for the most part, because there might be multiple people and decision makers involved in the process, right? So building those relationships and learning their cycle. And so your main goal is to build that trust and credibility with the content that you build, right? For them to help them make that decision and pass that decision on to the other decision makers, right? For business to consumer, right? You're building brand awareness across the market. You're focusing on triggering emotions and quick emotions purchase decisions. Maybe a larger scale market, so maybe not just say environmental engineers, but everybody in a 2-mile radius who's interested in buying cookies or something. Very short selling cycle, right? Usually just me, maybe some family members involved in a purchasing decision. If I'm buying a cookie, I don't need my boyfriend's help with that, right? Unless I'm buying some for him as well. And your main goal is to get that impulse and urge to buy, right? With your branding and messaging. So much different on how. And some of you that are both, you have to figure out, like, for business to consumer, business to business, how that's going to work as far as your messaging, where you go, as far as your marketing and how you do that. So much different, right? For business to consumer personas, is kind of, you're looking at their goals, the demographics, what are their personality traits, like Jake, the marketing manager who likes jazz. What influences, who or what influences them? Are they influenced by friends, by social media, by what's on television? What's really influencing them? Their brand loyalties, right? What type of online behaviors? Where do they hang out online? What do they do? What are their fears and objections, right? And B2B, some similar, but again, more on the business side, the influences in their business, right? What is their buying process for their day? Well, how do they like to be engaged with you? And what are their drivers and motivations with their business? Like the marketing manager guy said, well, I'm under pressure from the board, and then they're kind of stuffy, and I'm trying to bring in a new digital vibe, and so their problems and fears might be based around that versus what's happening at home. What are their deal breakers in business? So a little bit different. Some might be similar to what happens with B2C, and that's what you're kind of driving you when you're talking B2B. Right. And when you're building buyer personas, and not all of these would apply, but things to think about as you're building them, of course, the personal information, right? Who are they? It's the age, their gender, their children, if they have children or not, in what age range. Maybe if you're dealing with families with kids, that's important. You might say, well, I want kids parents of kids that are under 10, for example. Location might matter for you if you have a local business and you need to be finding people in your specific area. What income level, right? If you're looking for selling to people who have more expendable income, might have to be like up 100,000 plus, or you're looking for people who are lower income, you know, say 50,000 and below or 40,000 below. What education level? Are they college educated? They high school educated? What does that look like as far as for your business? Who are they professionally? Right. So are they a CEO of a company? Are they an entry level, a middle manager? Do they manage people, or are they managed? You know, how do they measure success? What are their values and fears? Again, what objections might they have? What drives their decision-making process? What are their goals and challenges? Okay, and where are they? How do they get information? How do they communicate? So you're building these personas yourself, you know, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to build a buyer persona, right? There might be negative information you're trying to avoid, right? People who are too difficult, too expensive, they might not have enough budget, right? We're eliminating, hey, we need people to buy my product that really are making 100,000 plus. Of course, here in California, that might not be very much, right? But, you know, again, if you have a product or service, you're not going to be hitting people who are making $30,000 a year, right? So, and this is a slightly different turn here on buyer personas. It's called, and then I'll show you some actual buyers persona examples. But this is called creating an empathy map. And you can do this with ChatGPT. Okay, so if you use it, you should be able to do this on the free version. You can try it. But empathy map is basically kind of having an understanding of their individual challenges and how to reach them, right? So it's kind of buyer personas, different way to look at it. So you're putting your personas in hypothetical situations. Okay, once you have the personas, we're going to say, okay, well, how are we dealing with them and how do we market to them? So this example here is a restaurant. They're targeting college students at nearby university. Okay, oops, I'm not touching my mouse. I'm just trying to move stuff out of the way here, and then I can read that. There we go. So we have 3 different personas. We have Alice, the serious student. She's working hard for her scholarship. She's not wasting any of her academic opportunities. Mikey, the fun-loving party guy, the frat boy, right? And college is all about meeting people and making memories. Troy, the activist, is we're the future. We can and must affect positive change in society. So different. They're all in college, but they all have a little different personalities, personas. And what are their potential challenges? So Alice is hosting a study group in her dorm room with 5 other students because she's the studier and needs 5 sandwiches delivered quickly, efficiently, and economically. Mikey, the frat boy, is having a small party. He needs some pizzas delivered. Troy is speaking at a voting rights meeting, doesn't have time to eat before and has to order late to the evening after the meeting. Okay, so how can this restaurant help, right? So the restaurant could, again, 3 different ways to market to them. Alice, she needs the all-night cram special, bulk of package of sandwiches and sides, help their group, you know, order one-click order, you know, and get it quick while they're studying. The frat brother, he needs to buy 3, get 1 free pizzas, you know, easy to order. Troy, the activist, maybe there's some late night healthy options or box meals on the go he can take with him to the meeting. So again, this restaurant, you know, they can just say, here's our food, you know, we have food, we have pizza, but here thinking about the different types of situations with the students and what would appeal to them. You know, there could be even other types of buyer personas out there within the college thing, but this is what building an empathy map. So you kind of have to have those buyer personas and then say, build an empathy map based on this information of the buyer personas. So what does a buyer persona look like? All right, so if you're building them, right, you want to actually flesh it out physically. So we want to have a picture, you know, who's representing your particular persona. It's not that you're only going to look for a person that looks like Bachelor Bryce, but it kind of just starts to give you that feel of who you're looking for, right? So Bachelor Bryce, this is for an animal shelter, okay? And you think, well, why does an animal shelter need to do marketing, right? Well, they have animals to adopt. Usually they pay to adopt them. So they They do have paying customers, so to speak, but they're animal adopters. And there's all different types of people who adopt animals for different reasons. And generally, probably dogs we're talking about, right? Cats, people pick cats by color, right? Long hair, short hair. Dogs definitely are more complicated. So here's Bachelor Bryce, single guy, he's age 30 to 50. He's relatively close, 60 miles in the animal shelter. He's single, successful, generally happy, but a little bit lonely. He's active, he's a good job, stable, but he feels something missing, right? He's looking for, he has a lot of love to give. So his goal is to find companionship, of course, continue to stay fit and healthy. His challenges, he loves animals, but is unsure if pet ownership is for him. Doesn't know where to begin on the dog selection process, right? So how can the shelter help or market to this particular buyer persona, right? Provide him pet owner or information on pet ownership, assist with the matchmaking, right? That's very important. They know what dogs are good for what lifestyle. You probably want to have a more like working dog, not 3 lazy snoring pugs that are sitting under this desk, right? And then communicate the benefits of having a pet, right? So they're marketing to him. Totally different way that they're going to market to, say, maybe a family with young kids or an older couple who doesn't need a very active dog, right? So they can create different buyer personas and market completely different to this person compared to the other animal adopter, right? I'll give you some other examples. So here's one a little bit more complicated, a little bit more fleshed out. Move this out of the way. There we go. So this is Sarah Student. This is for a coffee shop located in San Francisco. And they're marketing to students that might be close by to the coffee shop, like the restaurant was catering to the university. So Sarah Student, she's 20 years old, single, lives in San Francisco. She's a full-time interior design student, part-time worker. Her household income around 30,000. Definitely super conscious about what she spends her money on. Not a lot of money in San Francisco, so she should be. She prefers to use credit and debit cards. She's very active online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Got to update everything to say X now. What is she looking for? Sorry, touched my mouse again. Looking for a place to decompress after a hectic week, quiet place to study, good deals to make her feel better about purchasing, sense, stability in a chaotic world. She's influenced by friends, magazines, blogs, etc. Her brand affinities. What are her hopes and dreams? She wants to travel the world. She doesn't want to have to worry about finances. She worries about not paying her bills, getting stuck somewhere, not being able to travel. So this is pretty fleshed out for a coffee shop. Right? I won't read all of this, but what can they do? Bottom line, what can they do to make her life easier? And other personas or people, potential customers like her, right? Inviting, relaxing atmosphere, deals and coupons, a job board, cozy seating with charging stations, online ordering, social media incentives. Right now, this coffee shop, maybe it was maybe it's close to a retirement home, it'd be a totally different set of buyer persona, right? Wouldn't be students. So, depending on what their market is, this is what they determine would be their ideal audience and people like her. Okay. And then on the B2B side, so this is Selena Daniels. She's a 35-year-old Houstonian in Texas. Oh, okay, I'm going to not touch my mouse. She's a CEO and founder of a startup, project management startup firm. And it's kind of funny because she's looking for project management. So her problems, her frustration and pain points is that she needs to focus and develop more effective business strategies to scale, but she's stuck working, in her business instead of on her business, right? She's trying to manage clients and grow her company at the same time. Their project management is done via spreadsheets and documents, which isn't very efficient. She has more clients and employees now, but she still feels like she's a solopreneur, right? She's not doing good project management, so she needs to get that done. So a project management company would potentially help her out by helping her figure out the bottlenecks and fix those with the project management software. They could, give her an affordable subscription for the small business, free trials, good customer service, good value for her money. She knows the industry because she's in it, right? So again, figuring out what is her pain point and how can we fix it? I mean, how can we market to her to say that we can help fix this, right? Here's John Johnson, another marketing manager. He's 30, 75,000 a year, software technology industry, and his goals are he needs to deliver quality leads to grow, help achieve their revenue goals. And what he needs to do is to improve conversions on the website with more relevant content. So this content company of tech writers, you can hire him. Now they need to help him focus on how to increase engagement by providing subject matter experts to write that content for him. Right. So easy, relationship fix there, and he's not the decision maker, but he needs to, achieve these goals. So he's going to have to then convince his decision maker people, maybe his boss or bosses, that this is important for the business. So you have to help him get to the sale. You don't have to do, he'll be like, yeah, you're hired, but he's not the one to make the decision. So how do you convince the boss that it will cost money, but it will make them money in the long run, right? Always the last goal. Do we have any wineries in the room today? Say yes in chat or raise your hand. Usually have maybe one in the room. Any today? Okay, no problem. Well, I'll still go over this. So wine buyers, right? Anybody like going wine tasting? Like wine? Raise your hand. We have a couple. Okay. So you've probably been wine tasting. You walk up, go into the tasting room, walk up to the bar, and they give you a list of wines to taste. And you're like, everybody's going to be drinking grape juice today, right? And there are different people who come in the room, to come tasting. You might have somebody who's, newly engaged, engaged newcomer, might be new and they're overwhelmed by all what wine is and which one to drink and what varietals. Some are, hey, everyday loyals, might be wine club members, image seekers, somebody who comes in wants to impress everybody. The armchair sommelier, wine enthusiasts, they kind of know what they like and maybe go wine tasting a lot. And then price driven. So how does the winery know when they walk in the door which one you are? Well, it's asking questions. Some of them might come in like, oh, I don't know anything about wine. Or what is a Merlot versus a Pinot? You got to get a feel for that. As usually wineries, and I've worked briefly in the tasting room during the holiday pinch. It's like you give them a list like, hey, we're going to start with the whites, work our way down to the reds, and we can ask them questions to kind of gauge, do they know what they're doing? Have they been here before? Are they a club member? And you're going to market to them differently. You're going to, hopefully, smart wineries, lead them through that tasting once as you're standing there, if you can have time to talk to them, get to know them, so that, remember going back, labor pains versus baby? Somebody who's overwhelmed, if I was the winery person standing there, I might not give them all the details, like tell them, well, this was grown on a hillside, overlooking the ocean, and lambs and cows were nearby, and we were massaging them to help with the grape. It's like, no, don't give them all those details. Good stuff for now, but I would say just put some wine in front of them and say, here's a white, let's start with that. If they're overwhelmed, you don't want to overwhelm them, right? Somebody who's an engaged newcomer might want all those details. Right. So everyday loyals, they've already heard your story before. Just line up the wines for them. Let them ask, what do you want today? Right. The wine enthusiast, you might be somebody, or image seeker, like, hey, we have this special bottle back here, is the one that was massaged with cows, and it's only a couple bottles. You're like, once you get kind of a feel for them, and wineries would know, like, oh yeah, we've encountered those. And how you market to them afterwards, how you encourage them to buy, get them on your list. You're going to market to them differently. You're going to send different email messaging, perhaps, with that. So again, having kind of an idea of the different types of personas that can come in to your business, then how you're going to market to them afterward is different. So that's buyer personas. So, and you'll have on the marketing worksheets some things to fill out that you can help you start imagining who your buyer personas are. And you might have more than one. And let me actually, before we go to buyer's journey, going back to William with his Medicare, right? So 65 plus, and he might do this. He can let us know if he wants to. Generally, you're dealing with the people who are, you're getting up towards 63, 64, getting ready for that Medicare journey, right? So generally going to deal with that person, but you also might be dealing with their kids. You know, their kids might have to help them figure out Medicare, how to sign up for it. You know, if they're, you know, don't know how to get signed up for it. So potentially two different audiences. You know, say if somebody works in assisted living facility, they might deal with it themselves or their partner, but then they also might enlist their kids or grandkids. How you market to those different groups are completely different, right? So the ones who are using the product, 65 plus, you know, if you're using my father as an example, my parents, right? If you want to reach my 83-year-old dad, you put an ad in the physical LA Times because he reads that paper every single day. If you want to reach me as his kid, you can do the digital LA Times ad or social media or email. You're going to my dad's not going to be on social media, right? So it's not a good place to advertise for Medicare directly to the seniors. But it would be the marketing. You could put it on social media, and it could be an ad that has a younger child, you know, say young, quote young for me, with an older adult, you know, and show like I'm there helping and guiding them, sitting there in front of the Medicare insurance broker, helping my father and parents understand Medicare. They're already on it, they're good, but many years ago. But yeah, marketing would look totally different. You know, I would help my parents. You know, I'm just going through that now. My dad just had a back injury last month, and I've been deeply involved in the senior market. I'm doing everything for them pretty much. So again, marketing to me would be ideal, or my brothers would be ideal compared to them. Because at some point you might be taking over that stuff. So that's why I wanted to point that out. You might have different buyer personas. Some of you might have the same situation, even on the other end, right? You might be have a product or service that's for kids. Maybe you have a tutoring business. It's the parents who are going to most likely buy that service. Or someone I think said they had college advising, college planning. Generally, you're going to probably deal more with the parents than you are with the kid, because that's the type of thing that they'd be like, hey mom, sign me up for college advising or, you know, tutoring, right? It's going to be the parents that generally are doing that. And in some products, you might be marketing right to the teen or the kids, right? Usually products that they want their parents to buy for them. So again, thinking about those different markets, not the exact end user of the product, right? So thank you, William, for letting me use you as an example. So buyer's journey, what is that? Got the Vanagon down the dusty road, right? So usually we're all in the same buying cycle with our product or service. William, I keep picking on him. William, in this case, you know, once I already have Medicare, you know, and you've done the research and I bought it and everything, retaining the client potentially, like I'm already on it. I don't keep rebuying it? Maybe there's updates to Medicare, or like, hey, you didn't buy that Medicare Part D or supplemental or whatever. So it's still all confusing to me. I'm going to need some Medicare education for myself one day. But generally, we're all in the same cycle, right? We're looking for a product or service, right? Awareness. We start doing some research. We'll go online, we'll ask friends, we'll go down the street to the store. We'll compare, you know, generally some things we might not, but generally, you know, larger purchases we might compare. We make the purchase and we may need to buy it again, right? Maybe not, but maybe we do need to buy it. So it's all like gain and retain, I call it, right? How do we gain and how to retain? And how do we meet the customers in each step of the buying cycle, right? So in the buying cycle, what I just showed you, there might be different things that you're doing to market in that stage to get them, right? So in the awareness stage, right, they're looking for something, a problem they have, and they're trying to solve it. They need to learn about potential solutions, okay, and whether they could meet the needs. So this stage might be blog posts about it. They might be doing some Google searches and about something, and like, we'll just, okay, I'm going to keep using you, Medicare. And like, I don't know anything about Medicare. I'm going to start Googling, what is Medicare? How does it work? Maybe there's going to be some blog posts. I'm sure, is it Medicare.gov, Medicare.com? There is a main site for it. I'm going to start looking around for interesting, you know, articles that relate, maybe video content out there on it. Infographics, ebooks, right, that I'm looking for. Interest level, right, we have some potential options identified. We need to explore or some, there we go, sharing. Anybody needs about Medicare, cms.gov. So we're in that stage, we're kind of researching and we need to understand the benefits and features. Case studies. This would be a place for potentially demo videos or sales sheets. In some cases, free trials. That might not work for all of our businesses, right? Can't give free trials of some things, but webinars, right? Like I'm giving you a marketing webinar today. Events that you might do, some pricing, showing pricing at the stage. Now the next stage, right? I've completed the research. I'm getting close to making that final decision. Might be a time to do a live demo, get the proposal time, right? I'm ready to buy. Here's my proposal. Maybe a consultation, reports, comparisons, FAQs, references, you kind of inching them along to the sale. And then once they've made that purchase, right? We've done the purchase, got it. Now what? So hopefully you want them to advocate for you. Testimonials, right? Social media, get them on social media, blog posts, testimonials, case studies, newsletters, right? What can you do in each of these steps to keep them in that buying circle? And even again, if it's a product or service they bought once, they could still advocate for you, right? And how can you make it easy for people to advocate for you, right? Give you that Yelp review or whatever it is that you want them to do. Right? So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if there's any questions about the buyer circle or buyer's journey, but and how each of you reach them. And I guess, as I mentioned, not all of those are going to apply to all of you, but figure out what's going to work for your business for those buyer's journey items. And then on the next step, we have SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'll also talk about competitor analysis and what's a unique selling proposition and why do you need one, right? So SWOT, anybody ever do SWOT for their business? Raise your hand, say yes in chat. And if you did, okay, no hands. Okay, well, good idea to do it. Yes, we have one. I think he's answered yes to every question, which is good. So wherever you are in your business cycle, and if you've been in business for a while, I'd still stop and do a SWOT, and you'll have a SWOT sheet in the marketing plan. Do a couple of them if you want. And I'd recommend doing it, at least once a year. You could do it 6 months. If things change, you might want to do it, but it's a good idea to look at what does your company do well? Write it down on paper. And physically write it down on paper. What do you do well compared to your competitors? What qualities separate you from your competitors? Maybe you have good internal resources, knowledgeable staff. Maybe you have tangible assets that are a strength on your part. On the flip side, figure what you lack, what maybe your competitors do better, what your resource limitations might be if you have any. Like, I could really bring on another service, but I have to buy that $30,000 piece of equipment, right? You don't have a clear, unique selling proposition. That could be a weakness, and it's not helping you get clients if it's not clear. We'll talk about that next. Your opportunities might be there's an underserved market for that specific product or service. Few competitors in your area. Maybe there's an emerging need for your product or service. Maybe it's getting good press coverage, right? On the threat side, might be emerging competitors, changing regulatory environment, right? We don't want negative press coverage. It might not be directly about your business, but maybe your industry in general could be getting negative press. Changing customer attitude towards your company or your industry even, right? Could be a lot of things. Environment, not just in a regulatory environment, but the environment, as I mentioned earlier, when you're evaluating your business plan, is like what's happening. Technology could change and be a threat. So a lot of different things can be a threat to your business. Good idea to sit back and examine that. So here's an example of what a SWOT would look like for a restaurant, right? So almost could be my restaurant client in most of this, but say strengths: excellent, well-trafficked location, great reputation among the community, good seasonal, locally sourced menu. Their weaknesses: higher costs than comparable chain restaurants as a single location, so very limited reach. Definitely a modest advertising budget. Not currently using food delivery apps and technology, which definitely should be by now. Opportunities is to use food delivery apps and technology, keeping a seasonal menu fresh and interesting. There's a growing interest and support for locally sourced ingredients. threats, intensifying competition from chains, uncertain economic environment, which for restaurants, you know, their chances are good that they would fail, unfortunately. Rising cost of ingredients, right? COVID was a threat. I still keep that on there. You know, we're still using QR codes in you know, a lot of restaurants still use them, even though most restaurants who had paper or physical menus have gone back to that. But all those can be a threat to your business, right? So good idea, do those SWOTs, do one now, I mean, not this second, but do one after the class if you haven't done it. It really helps you just to think, to put it on paper, you know, and it'll help guide you. Because if you do have some weaknesses, how can you turn those around into strengths? What do you need to do to adjust that? Is it threatening your business in any way to have those weaknesses? Most likely it is, if it's a weakness, right? And then who are your competitors, right? You probably, most of us do have competitors. I know, William, there's a lot of people who sell Medicare out there. There's a lot of people who are selling insurance and looking at everybody's college admissions, and most of insurance brokers. I'm looking back through here. Alkaline water business. I know my parents use alkaline water. You know, some of you might be more unique and not have as many competitors, you know, and that's great, but then you still want to know, okay, why do people, they don't know there's a lot of people doing it, that might be a disadvantage for your business. So if it's something very unique out there, how do you find those customers, right? So when you're identifying your competitors, they're not just one type of competitor out there. There's 3 different types. A direct, meaning they offer exactly the same service, target the same audience, maybe geographically, that you do. Like, say, a coffee shop like down the block from Starbucks, right? Which could happen a lot. Secondary, indirect, right? They offer different product and service and target a different clientele, but it's in the same category. A winery and a brewery, because they both sell alcohol. And there might be people who are wine and beer, you know, drink both or one or the other. Direct competitors in the wine industry would be another winery, and wineries, I have to say, are probably the most unique. I can't think of any other industry out in the world that has that many direct competitors in their backyard, right? Every state in our union has a winery in it. California, we have, I think, somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 wineries. Up where my clients my one winery client's located, there's 250 wineries approximately in a 300,000 person county, right? And then you have people coming in, but literally down the road, up the hill, down the road, to the left, to the right, across the street, there are people who are directly selling wine, right? No other industry I can think of in the world to have that many direct competitors in their backyard. How do they distinguish themselves from the other 200 wineries literally within driving, walking, spitting distance from them, right? So that's a unique challenge to that industry. Substitute competitors, right? So the business offers different products and services, but targets the same customers in a geographic area. So the example of, like, right during the pandemic, right, home nail kits, hair kits, right? Because we couldn't go to the salons, and then it's like, well, you know, it works. Maybe I'll just keep doing the home kit, you know, instead. So that would be kind of a substitute competitor. They might have to get back again, perhaps. Definitely did not try cutting my own hair during the pandemic. And then when you're doing competitive analysis, there are different things you can look at when you're evaluating your competitors. What does their branding look like? Their taglines, their visual, their messaging to potentially the same type of client. What's their value proposition? How do they promise to solve their customer's problem? You can look at their website and their marketing materials and whatever to get that feel. What does their social media look like? Are they using social media? Are they active on it? Are they engaging with their customers? And again, you can spy and look around. Keywords, right? So there's I think I have it on a slide. There's an SEO spy, it's called SpyFu, SPYFU.com, and you pay for it, and you can put in your competitor's website address and yours and compare, like, how do they rank for organic keywords. It will show you what they pay. It won't show you how much they spend. So you can do a little bit of spying on them as far as keywords. Might not be able to find advertising spends out there on with your competitors. What type of campaigns are they doing? Email. Get on their email list. Just use another address. See what they're emailing out. Are they participating in events and trade shows that you would as well? You know, how are they interacting in the community? If you're a local based business, how are they getting out there and interacting with their potential customers and customers, right? And then unique selling proposition. Let me see if I have any questions coming up here. Hold on, there we go. Blah. Yes, okay, and it looks like they're answering the question. Yes, you will get a replay. Okay, so unique selling proposition. Anybody here, raise your hand. Do you already have a unique selling proposition? Have you ever done this? Raise your hand or say yes in chat. I'm kind of guessing who might say yes. Okay, we have nobody. Okay, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll hopefully figure this out, right? So what is a unique selling proposition? Right? Why do you need one? Well, it's just basically, right? We want to be in what's called the winning zone here. We want to say, what does your brand make? What does your brand do that the consumers want? So it's basically coming up between in the positive area, what your brand does well and what the consumer wants. That means you're winning it in that space. Losing it means your competitor is doing it better than you are compared to what the consumer wants. That risky competitive battle zone we might not want to be in. There's no clear advantage. We might have to find a way to stand out. We definitely don't want to be in the who cares. The customer doesn't care about your product or service. It's no interest that you think it is, or it might be a very tiny market. That's going to be a harder, harder situation to overcome, right? So really having a business plan along with a marketing plan in place, hopefully will help you figure that out. Right. Sometimes we might have business ideas and think, oh, this is the next best thing, this sliced bread. And like, who wants it? Right. They ever watch Shark Tank and they're sometimes pretty brutal, but in some cases, like, I watch it irregularly now, but, they're right about who really wants this. The person thinks like, oh, everybody's going to want it, but it's such a tiny market that is it really, not being a good investment for them, but is it really worth it to try to be in that risky space if only a few people are going to actually want this product or service? So really understanding what your unique selling proposition is out there helps, or value proposition. So here's some examples. So Bombas, probably most of us are familiar, if not all of us. They sell socks right now, t-shirts as well. And that's not the unique selling proposition. Their USP is at that very last line there, every item you purchase for yourself, they donate an item to someone affected by homelessness, right? So is everybody their customer, right? All of us from birth on up to our final days, even in the casket, can put socks on our feet, right? All humans can generally wear socks, right? Not all of us wear socks at all, but we can all put them on our feet. So does that mean they service everybody? As far as the socks and the t-shirts, right? We all can put t-shirts on as well. They might not sell newborn sizes, but right. So we all can physically be a customer, but not all of us are a customer. They're not trying to appeal to all of us, right? So not that everybody's not caring that somebody else would get a pair of socks that needs them, but that messaging doesn't appeal to everybody. For every pair purchase, somebody else gets one donated. Right? These are $78, 4 pairs of socks, about $20 a pair of socks. They're beautiful, nice merino wool. But I might be a customer like, I am perfectly fine going to Target and I'm going to get my 6-pack of socks for $10 and I'm good. That's not their customer, and that's okay. They're not trying to appeal and have that Target person say, okay, spend $80 for 4 pairs of these beautiful socks. And there's millions of socks out there. Are they any different or special? Not really. There's merino wool socks that could be tie-dyed and have the nice little extra dry technology or whatever they have there, compression socks. But again, they're appealing to a certain audience, willing to pay more because they know some of that money is going to go towards the donated socks, right? So again, their unique selling proposition is not the product, but what they do, what their causal marketing. Okay. Here's some others I just pulled randomly off the internet I liked. Here's Saddleback Leather Company. They'll fight over it when you're dead, right? So probably most leather products, if made well, are probably going to last quite a while, right? If they ever have leather purses and bags and things. But there's like, they're saying, hey, it's going to be so good, so strong, you're going to have to put it in your will, right? So good, interesting, unique selling proposition. Pipcorn, it's a tiny pipcorn. They actually were on Shark Tank. I think Barbara Corcoran, this is one of her success stories, right? So what's different? It's all natural, whole grain, small batches. Okay, most popcorn, I think all popcorn, it is a natural product. It's whole grain, right? And not say it's made in small batches, but that's what they decided to be unique. You know, it's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, whole grain, packed with antioxidants. So, and again, it's a smaller popcorn than normal. But yeah, they got a Shark Tank deal and making millions now. But again, their unique selling proposition, you know, maybe Orville Redenbacher, one of the bigger brands, don't necessarily stress the whole grain, small batches. You don't think of that company as small batches. So doing good on that. Here's coffee, Death Wish Coffee, world's strongest coffee, right? Might be, you know, the world's strongest coffee. There might be other coffee out there, but they're owning that unique selling proposition. You know, it's going to kill you. It's so strong, right? I'm about putting skull and crossbones on your bag, but okay. I think I've seen this somewhere in the market too. Here's Tattly, fake tattoos by real artists, right? So, you know, there's a lot of temporary tattoos on if you ever put them on, and they're, you know, they're drawings or whatever, but this is actually, you can say a real tattoo artist created these. So it could be just like getting the real tattoo, right? Without the pain. Canva, right? If everybody uses Canva to create their marketing graphics, empowering the world of design. You don't have to be a graphic designer, right? To use their product. We're making it easy for everyone to make their own designs. Right, here's some that might be familiar to you out there in the world. I'll go to number 2, FedEx Corporation. When it was Federal Express, when they first came out, was when absolutely positively has to be there overnight. That was their USP when they came out, because nobody else was offering only overnight service. How many years ago that was. I remember those days. So that was their unique. Nobody else offered it. It was a post office. I think maybe DHL or Tiger Express were around. I think is where FedEx started. And then now they offer everything, right? But they entered the market with just overnight service. Domino's Pizza, years ago, fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, it's free. Well, they don't offer that any longer. And I know FedEx, somebody can look this up. I always forget it. I'm going to put it on there. If somebody finds it for me, I'm going to make sure I save it. It's like One World Delivered or something like that. Somebody look that up, see if they can find it. So totally different, you know, unique selling proposition now for FedEx. We'll get it there, maybe. No, kidding. That might be, I don't know if that's UPS. Target, expect more, pay less, right? Shopify, the platform commerce is built on. So there are other e-commerce platforms, Squarespace, etc. But Shopify is like, hey, this is the place you go for e-commerce. M&M's melts in your mouth, not in your hand. It's unique to them since they started, right? Postmates, anything, anytime, anywhere. That's one of the 3 or 4 or 5 main delivery apps out there for food. Starbucks, expect more than coffee. So, you know, like I said, some that you're familiar with. So how do you build your own USP, right? And don't worry about, oh, we live to deliver. But there was another one that was like, someone said One World on Time or something like that. But all right, we live to deliver. Hopefully deliver it and it arrives safely, right? There's a funny meme about how Amazon delivers a package, how UPS, USPS, FedEx, it's like, yeah, we'll get it there. Someday you might get it. So here are some examples. I have 2 pages. You'll get these so you can mull over them later. But some different things to think about when you're building yours, right? Do you have distinctive traits compared to your other providers? How are you different from your closest competition? What additional services do you apply? How do you excel in quality? Do you have a physical, what physical needs do you meet in your niche? Emotional, spiritual, how do you meet those in a special way? Demographically, are you distinctive? Do you service a particular area that's distinctive, have certain age group and gender, etc.? Service distinctives. Maybe you have a 24/7 hotline, you answer your emails within 3 minutes of receiving them, whatever it is, you know, is there a distinctive there? What do you have technical support, confidentiality services, What is it that you can say service-wise that can be a unique selling proposition? Do you offer any deals or incentives that could be unique? Personal, do you have special skills that make you more attractive than your closest competitor? Track record, how long have you been in operation, right? What are your outcomes, client statistics, et cetera, your vision? So think differently, yes, definitely. So what is it that makes you unique? Now, in some cases, age is a good one. So an example, here in Los Angeles, we have taco shops on every corner and literally in the streets now. You can set up a street vending business and sell tacos. And there's established restaurants that have them, and then they have, taco stands or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunities for tacos. You never will go out without tacos or burritos or anything in that category. So I have a client that they have been in business for 50 years here in Los Angeles. They have 2 small taco shops in 2 different locations here. Very competitive. They're Oaxacan, from the Oaxaca region, and great. And I think they also sell hamburgers and things like that too. But 50 years, you think, wow, for any restaurant. Here in Los Angeles, the most diverse food city, but we definitely are heavy on Mexican food, given our proximity to Mexico. So how is that a distinction when there's actually some Mexican restaurants here that just celebrated their 100-year anniversary here in Los Angeles? So the track record for you is still very impressive for 50. And there are other restaurants here that have been around for that long. So it's very distinctive because I'm like, hey, there must be doing something right. So this particular shop, she didn't share this. I was working on buyer personas with her, and she shared that, if you remember Oprah Winfrey, I don't think she does it, maybe for her magazine, but when she still had her show, Oprah's favorite things, in addition to the show where she went and, gave everybody all of her favorite things, she would go to a place. This is my favorite sandwich from the sandwich shop. This is my favorite, chocolate chip cookie from this shop. Well, one of Oprah's favorite burritos is one of her burritos, but she wasn't sharing that. That is a unique selling proposition. It's like, for that burrito, she could say Oprah's favorite burrito. People still know Oprah and like her. So, I was like, why aren't you using that and telling people it's their favorite burrito? So again, 50 years, still very distinctive. But what else can it be to drive that in? So when you're thinking about building your unique selling proposition, okay. So everybody, hopefully you'll do that exercise in the marketing plan and come up and think about that and what that looks like for your business. And then your messaging, your branding, your story. Okay, what is that? Why do you need a story? Right? What is your story? Why do you need a brand story? Well, it's going to set you apart from your competitors, right? People buy from people, right? We make connections to people. We then become maybe loyal to products or services. Now, when it comes to okay, I'm loyal to because I like using Tide Pods or, some of the bigger brands, I use Tylenol, and Johnson & Johnson. Do I need to know who the CEO of those companies are? Do I relate one-on-one to them and then I'm loyal? We become brand loyal. But when it comes to us as smaller business owners, people relate to us and they're going to know, like, and trust us based on us. They want to connect with you and not just the product when it comes, other than, like I said, the big products that we use every day, right? So how do you, develop a brand story? What does that look like, right? Everything you do crafts your story, okay? Whatever touch point you have out there, whether it's your social media, your website, your storefront, your employee uniforms, if you have them, your delivery vans, everything you do crafts your story. And it needs to be consistent across all of those platforms, whatever you're using, marketing materials, right? Confused buyers don't buy. And if you confuse them, they're going to have a hard time buying from you, right? So you want to make sure across the board, everything is very consistent as far as your branding, right? These are going to be questions for you to answer as you fill out the marketing plan worksheets. Write them out. Why was your brand created? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you go? Some people I had a medical incident and now I'm selling, long-term care insurance, or, it's like, what is it? Hey, I inherited this business. Oh, I heard there's a lot of money in this business. Write that down. Why did you create that brand? What are your brand core values, right? What makes you tick? What do you stand behind with your core values? You know, transparency, you know, integrity, honesty, whatever those core values are, write them out. And how will you live up to those particular core values for your business, right? And then brand visuals, right? So of course, whether it's video, photos, what does that look like? What does our brand look like? So as it says here, you're already branding yourself with your image online. And are you telling the right story? Right. So this is Janet. I know her personally. I'm allowed to use her pictures. And I know the brand photographer, Gina. And we all know each other from a women's networking group up in the Central Coast. And Janet, lovely picture of her. She's a life coach. And this was the picture she was using before Gina got a hold of her and did some better branding photography. Who's her ideal client? And is this appealing? Now, I always joke with Janet, I'm like, it looks like, were you a banker in your previous life? Like, it's a nice little employee headshot. I was guilty of that too. I had my employee of the month at the credit union picture because I was smiling and it fairly recent and, you know, looked smiling for the camera and using that. But was it telling the right story? Is it talking to the people who would hire her as a life coach? Right. So Gina got a hold of her, zhuzhed her up a little bit. I think she looks a lot more how she currently looks. The picture, older picture or the previous picture doesn't even really look like how she looked currently. This is more what she looked like. A little extra makeup for the camera, right? So it's a great headshot. Also did some additional photos, making her warm and friendly, right? Open, accessible. Like I can imagine now, like if I wanted to tell her my life problems and hire her as my life coach, I'm sitting across from her on the sofa she's sitting across in that chair. She appeals, she's ready to hear my problems. The other picture I tell Jan and I'm like, do you have some 20s for my 100? Right? The banker picture. So again, appealing to that ideal audience with your pictures and photography important if you are your business. Here's some other examples from Gina. This is Marcy Jean. She's a hair and skin specialist. She's selling professional, but she also wanted to sell playful. So you can see from her I would say her decor, her wardrobe and tattoos. She looks like she's a lot of fun, but also she's like, hey, you would take her seriously as a professional. You know, she knows what she's doing. So her brand photography shoot was a little bit different, right, than say mine or Janet's was to get some photos. I always forget to put my slides in here, my before and after. Here's a shop called East Wellbeing and Tea. They're selling Calm. They're obviously selling tea, massage, body relaxing, everything in there, Zen, right? So their idea with the branding photography was to sell Calm, show you what they do and what it's like to hang out there, right? Here's a real estate broker. I think some might be real estate here, right? Typical are going to see the real estate broker holding up the for sale sign, holding up the keys, right? The little kind of like the banker shot. But Vinny here, he's a broker in Pismo Beach, so along the Central Coast in California, great place to sell. Want to show you, hey, he's not just selling a home, he's selling you a lifestyle. When you buy a home here, there's gonna be vineyards literally in your backyard to go wine tasting, or you can sit on the hotel balcony, eating a gourmet meal, looking at the Pacific Ocean, right? So a little bit different to like show like, hey, this is what I'm selling you, you know, other than that multi-million-dollar box right behind him, right? And that is the dark. What happened there? There we go. That was weird. Okay. That's not good branding photography if it's all black. So business, right? So this is my winery client up in the Central Coast. And when I first met them in 2017, they didn't have any branding photography at all. They had an old picture of some wine barrels and really old pictures of the owners didn't even look like them anymore. They both had lost a lot of weight since then. So, and they were having their 10th anniversary party. So we actually brought Gina in to photograph the party. And then I brought Gina back and I go, can we just get stock photography, right? What does the place look like? The details, right? The vineyards, the grapes, the bottles, all of that, right? The house there. And if you have $10 million, it is now for sale, unfortunately, retiring out of the business at the end of the month. So just a cool $10-12 million and it's all yours. But product shots, right? We needed to have marketing and advertising, bottle shots, glam shots, all that so we can use it. The details, what happens when you go to the winery? There's, this is more like an event. So they have music and food and it looks like fun. You want to hang out there, right? Share the feeling. What is it like to hang out? You can sit down on the patio with your friends. You can, the tuxedo crooner was for their 10th anniversary party. It's not a usual thing. Yes, there is, Lisa, we did record. You'll get the entire recording and slides and all that after the class. Share the stories, right? This is the wine club, the party, and then just hanging out in the tasting room. All right. So you get to feel the people. And I'm going to see them this weekend for the farewell party. So Cheryl and Randy at the bottom, the owners, the current owners of the winery. Tiffany, the tasting room manager. This is, again, going back to the connecting to the people. Sure, people are coming there for the juice. But again, as I mentioned earlier, there's direct competitors literally down the road, across the 2-lane street, up around the corner, down, there's literally hundreds of competitors. So what brings them back, right? There's a lot of good juice around the area to drink, but it's the people. For 17 years now, they've built relationships with them. They come back because they want to see Tiffany and Randy and Cheryl and the other employees there. Right. So make sure you're sharing that story. People want to see. I see so many websites where you have no idea who owns it, what they look like. People want to connect to people, not just words, right? Or products for that matter. So once you have good, in video, I didn't really show video content, but once you have at least photo content, now you can create social media posts and emails and flyers and all of that. You have good quality branded photography to use. Okay. And then what do these brands convey to the world? Shout it out in chat. When you see these two brands, whether you love them or hate them, what do you see? Give me a word that describes these two brands when you see them. And other than the products that they sell, obviously coffee or technology products. So shout out in the chat. Well, give me a word or two or something when you think of these two brands. Limited viruses? I don't know. All right, must be talking about Apple. Hopefully not Starbucks. We don't want any viruses in our coffee. Anything else? Give me a word on the marketing side of things. When you see these brands, what? Colorful? Yeah, okay. Refreshing. And when they talk about the messaging, what do these brands convey? Oh yes, yeah. Apple's not known for having many viruses. I know Norton doesn't come up with much. Choices, recognize, coming up with one word I'm looking for with them. Frequent, popular. It's a C word, and I already saw it in my marketing plan rules. Consistent. Ding, 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 ding. Consistent is the word, right? Whether you go to a Starbucks in Los Angeles or near Monmouth, New Jersey, or in Paris, France, they're all over the world. The drinks might be slightly different. Somebody said maybe they don't have Americanas in Paris, but somebody said they actually do. But generally, the architecture will be slightly different. Employees maybe speak in a different language, have a different accent. But generally, it's going to be a consistent experience across the board. You know what you're getting. Apple, whether it's in San Francisco or Hong Kong, again, maybe slightly different languages spoken, different color polo shirts, but you have a consistent experience with both of these brands. Now, none of us currently, maybe someday, will be billion-dollar brands, but you can still be consistent. You can still learn from these brands to keep that messaging and branding consistent across everything you do, even if you don't have millions of stores and millions of dollars, whatever they have, right? Just learning from these brands that they're very, especially as you're growing, maybe you're franchising and you're growing to have multiple locations, you need to be consistent across that, unless there's a specific reason to be different in your different stores, maybe regionally different, right? There might be products in New Jersey, they're different than California and different in Paris, France, right? So again, it's all about consistency. Okay, we're going to do a little fun exercise here. It's called Get to the Hand Raise, and hopefully you all will do this exercise for yourself. So it's real quick. I'm going to tell you two different versions of my pitch, right? If we meet at a networking event and you get to stand up and tell people what you do, like your 30-second pitch, how are you going to tell people about your business? Okay, so I'm going to call it Get to the Hand Raise. The story behind that is this just happened literally, I think weeks before COVID hit in 2020, this gal and I have a mutual business coach at that time, and she suggested that the two of us do a little networking phone call to get to know each other. And we both had our crafted pitches to each other, and we're on a phone. Again, this isn't Zoom. And she did her pitch to me. And I told her, I said, my hand just shot up in the air. I'm like, yes, I want what you're selling. I am your ideal customer. Sign me up. Here's my credit card. I think she was a time management coach, if I remember. And I didn't actually wind up signing up because I think literally a week or so later, COVID hit and all time management went out the window anyway. So, but I always remember that hand raise. I said, she said the right message to the right person. At that moment, I needed her services. Now, I might not have, and I might not have gotten to the hand raise. I'm like, but I could have said, ooh, Jill, I know somebody who's struggling with their business and they always don't have enough time going on, and they never show up for our dinner because they're always working. Maybe she could use your services. Right. So she was so crystal clear in her customer that I raised my hand. So that's why I say get to that hand raise. Is your messaging getting somebody to that hand raise in front of you, whether they need it personally or know somebody who needs it? So I'm going to give you two versions of my pitch for my business, A or B. Wait till you hear both. And then in chat, I want you to put A or B and why you liked A or B. Okay. So we're going to pretend we're going to meet at a mixer. And we walk up and say, how are you doing? Tell me about yourself, right? So A. So, hi, I'm Patty with Golden State Marketing, and I work with business owners and help them with marketing efforts such as social media management, email marketing, promotional products, search engine optimization, public relations, and website development. Okay, that's A. Now, the second one is, hi, I'm Patty with Golden State Marketing. I am hired by busy business owners who wear so many hats, their marketing gets put on the back burner, and all they really want is strategic, focused marketing that actually grows their business. So together we will come up with a either DIY or done-for-you plan to help them with that goal. So A or B, and tell me why you liked A or B. What was it about it that you liked? So we have a couple. So far we have a couple B's. So A or B, if it raised your hand in any way, in which why? Okay, B was more personal. Okay, we like that. So what else? Concise. Okay. More detail. Still looking for a specific answer on what was B over A that you liked. More detailed, helpful. Okay. Hit on emotion and empathy, right? Good. A was straightforward. Rafael liked that one. It described my services. So what it was, so wait, someone did give the exact answer on that. B, A, I'm just rattling off my services, right? Here's social media, emails, SEO, promotional I do all that stuff, right? I covered the layers, you covered the value. I talked about the pain point of the person, not telling people what I do. I said, I'm hired by busy business owners. Some of you could raise your hand right now with that. You don't even know what I do yet. I'm hired by busy business owners and I do time management, or I'm hired by busy business owners and, I help them take stuff off their plate, whatever, right? But I'm hired by busy business owners who wear so many hats. How many? Raise your hand on that. Probably everybody could raise their hand on that. Unless you all have good staff already to do that, right? And all you want is strategic focused marketing that actually grows your business. Right? You didn't say all I want is strategic focused social media. All I want is email marketing. Most of my clients who hire me directly, for the most part, don't care how. They just want to grow their business. I can run a hot air balloon with their name on it, put up a billboard, do social media, as long as I don't do anything illegal or out of their budget. As long as it hits the end game, it takes away their pain. I'm taking away the work. I'm taking the hat off their head. I'm helping grow their business. How? Like when they come to me, they're generally overwhelmed. They don't have time to do it. They can't do it consistently and they hate doing it. And they just need it to work. Right. So the first one is just blah, blah, blah. Here's all the things I'll help you with. They just want results. So the end game of like how I accomplish it doesn't necessarily matter because they don't know. Like, yeah, I need to do social media. Are you sure? Maybe you need to focus more on building relationships and don't focus. I talk to people all the time and they're like focusing on, I need to get on Instagram and TikTok. No, you actually need to spend time on LinkedIn or going door to door, or, you know, something different based on what I learned about their business. So that's mine. I want you to practice that. There'll be a page that says get to the hand raise page, write it out. Think about how you're solving the pain point potentially. You know, and some of you it might not be, maybe you sell cookies, for example. Are you solving a pain point? You know, what is it that distinguishes your cookies? Might be a little different of a message to them. Maybe you do catering, you know, or special packs for corporates or something. But practice that, and you're all welcome to, because you'll get my email address. You're all welcome to email me your hand raise message, and I'm more than happy to critique, tweak, help you tweak it, give you ideas on it. But if you have one already, I'm happy to take a look at it. I'll put in here in the chat right now. And again, you'll get this again. So if you don't capture it now, you will get it later. But it's Patty@goldenstatemarketing.net. Just put in the title, the subject line, hand raise message in caps, so I can distinguish that from my other email. But have fun with it. Try it, because you can use this whether you're going to a networking meeting, put it on your website, maybe even in your social media bios, so people know, like, get to the hand raise even when they see it on social media, your website, wherever your tagline, if you want to use it. Okay. The next step, tactical plan. Right. So, okay, we know we have buyer personas, we're building a plan. How do we execute? Right. Some of you may be executing right now. You might be spaghettiing, again as a verb, or spraying and praying, right? But we want to have a plan in place. How are you going to do it? Who is going to do it? What tools and budgets and all that you need to do it, right? So what kind of plan do you need to have in place to get, right? You have your goals, you did your SMART goals, and now you need to have the way to accomplish it, to get to those sales, right? So having a budget in place. Now, I don't have any tools for budgeting. I just use a spreadsheet. Here's an example I just pulled off the internet. So you can lay it out by what type of campaigns you're going to do. I would first figure out who your buyers are and best place to reach them. Not all of you are going to need all of these different options, but you might want to do PR campaigns, or, like I said, if you're going to advertise in my father, you have to go run a newspaper ad. You have a budget for that. Social media. So where's your spend going to be? And people ask, like, well, how much of a budget should I have? Generally, I mean, you'll hear 10% of your annual revenue should be a marketing budget. So again, if you're, making 100,000 a year, there's, 10% of that. It could be more or less. That's just kind of a guideline. I have people say all the time, hey, I want to hire you, but I need to make some money first. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but you should plan in a marketing budget, because marketing is going to help you make money. If you're waiting to hire me until you have a budget, how are you going to do that without the marketing? Right? So plan for a budget for marketing up front as much as, and some of it you might have to do yourself, and DIY it. I mean, your time is money as well. But eventually have to have some type of marketing, and being smart and targeted to where you should spend the money. I know there was a gal, it's a tragic. She's a speaking coach. So she would target corporate people in corporate, environment who need to do public speaking for their business, or a business owner, like, say, I need help with public speaking, all business to business. She was spending $10,000 on Facebook trying to reach people who need to do public speaking. I'm like, why weren't you on LinkedIn? Oh, well, I'm like, ooh, she could have spent $10,000 on LinkedIn and got tons of business, or just being active on LinkedIn and hitting up people. So knowing who your customers are before you spend that budget. That was she didn't get anything from her $10,000. She hadn't met me yet. So I don't know who guided her to spend that money on Facebook. Marketing expensive, generally going to be kind of the direct selling costs. Advertising, you might do online ads, or the newspaper ad to reach my father. Promotional materials, direct mail, print, right? The staff, are you going to hire somebody internally or hire outside, right? It's going to, either way is going to cost you money. Indirect costs, it depends on if you do it, or you're doing it, or somebody else's. You might have to buy subscriptions to different tools. I'll show you in a second. Training, all of those costs are things to consider. And some, again, if you're DIYing, will be more than if you're passing it out to somebody else, an outside agency or whatever. So some tools, again, if you're DIYing, you might have to have some of these tools versus hiring out and they have the tools. But generally, some of you might have CRMs, right? Customer relationship management tool. And some of these are just examples, right? So Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho are popular CRMs out there. SEO tools to do search engine optimization. I mentioned SpyFu is one of them, Moz, SEM Rush. I put on here now ChatGPT because you can use ChatGPT to help improve SEO on your site. Okay, if you know how to do it, right? I probably still recommend an SEO expert. Social media, there's publishing tools out there. Sprout Social, Later, Metricool, Post Planner, right? You can use ChatGPT to help you create social media. Not yet to publish, but to create social media. Oops, this mouse. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to move this out of the way. There we go. Email campaign tools, right? Platforms, MailChimp, Constant Contact to actually send. You can use ChatGPT again to help create emails. So that's why I added that in there. Calendar and scheduling tools. I use Calendly, so you're not playing this, hey, do you have Tuesday at 3 open? No, how about Wednesday at 4, right? Use a calendar tool to take away that process if you have a lot of people set appointments with you. Sales tools. Some of you might need to have sales tools like lead funnel tools, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Salesforce, etc. Graphic design, I use Canva. That's mean expense, Photoshop, Illustrator. You can ChatGPT and other AI tools can help create graphic design tools or graphics, I should say. Productivity, a content calendar. I'm going to show you mine in a second. You again using ChatGPT to help with productivity, time management, things like that. So again, you have to kind of consider the cost of doing these tools if you're doing it versus having it outsourced for you. So just some different tools to think about, right? And then, oops, now it won't go forward. There we go. Now I think this is the most important part of the marketing plan or part of your marketing planning. SEO Lisa said, SEO is so expensive, but if you have the right person or the team doing it, and SEO is not about just keyword planting. There's content building on that, but it's definitely a good idea to look at somebody who's an expert at doing SEO to get your site ranking. And some of you, it may be more important, just kind of going back to SEO. Some of you have businesses that's an immediate intent. Okay, I'm going to go back to William again, right? So if I'm looking up Medicare, I have an immediate need. Maybe I'm researching it for myself, not yet ready quite yet there. I'm getting closer to Medicare age, but I'm researching for my parents. I was literally doing that recently, looking up because I don't understand Medicare. I'm like, is this covered? How do they have? My immediate intent is to go to Google and look it up because people go there because they generally need something right away or they're researching to get something, right? Where on social media, he could spend money there. He could do, again, maybe appealing to the kids, do social media ads saying, hey, learn about Medicare. And, are you getting close to 65? Are helping your parents with it? Whatever it is, it's going to be brand awareness. You don't know if their people are generally looking for Medicare, or ready for it because, they're not there on social media to look for Medicare. But in the case of Google, yes. So in that case, I would recommend for William, if he hasn't already, to focus on SEO more than be focusing on social media. So there, in the cases of that, might not be an immediate need for all of you to do SEO. So just decide on that. Talk to somebody about that first. So the content calendar, I think, I'm not going to suggest this, but if you were to skip everything else on my marketing plan and just say, Patty, hey, I just need to get my social media done and my email, but I'm just like, it's too much. I don't know how to get it all done. I'm sitting there and it's like Thursday. I don't know what to post on social media and I forget and I get overwhelmed and I don't do it. Is that anybody here? Can raise your hand? No judgment zone if it is, right? It's just a lot, if you don't have somebody doing it for you and you're trying to do it with all those hats, right? Okay, Tanika, she's admitting it. It's okay. So, but this is why I developed this because I found that most of you were getting overwhelmed by trying to get it all done. So let's talk about building a process. If you're going to do it yourself, I highly recommend a process and have it in place to do it. And generally it's broken down into kind of 3 pots here, right? The calendar, the planning time, right? Creation, that'll probably be your biggest part, right? Going on Canva or whatever tools you're using to create graphics, create video content, etc. And then scheduling it all. All right. So using tools that are out there to do that, to help you process. So once you start streamlining this process, it will get easier. I mean, I can't take all the work away, still take time to create. I mean, I could if you wanted to. I could do it for you. But again, if you're going to do it, streamlining all of these processes on a regular basis will start helping make sure that you're consistent across the board, right? So I say block your time in your calendar. Again, if you're doing it, honor those times in your calendar. Say, okay, every, the 30th or 30th of each month, or the 28th of February, that'll be your planning time. You're going to take an hour of your time or 2 hours, whatever it is, and be your planning with your calendar. And then you're going to block, and that's going to be 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on, the last Thursday of the month or whatever it is. And then the creation time, that you might break up, a couple hours here, a couple hours there. Scheduling time might be an hour or 2 of your time each month. So I always recommend working ahead. My calendar that you're going to see, it comes out every October, which I can't believe is like a month, 2 months away, month and a half away, for the coming year. And I developed this calendar originally for my clients because we would do our end of year planning session for the coming year generally in November. I would sit with them with a Microsoft Word template calendar, so we can scribble notes on it. What are we going to repeat from this year? What do we already know coming up for next year, events or promotions, and start plugging those in. So before December even hit, I had most of the coming year planned out until, spontaneous things come up for the year, but most of it, the filler content that we would add in. So I'm already ready for January by December. Right. So we don't want to wait until January to start planning the new year, because it's going to be too late. It'll be Valentine's Day before you blink after the holidays. So planning ahead, especially if anybody here Q4 driven, like you rely on holiday sales. I know a lot of you are more service based. Anybody here do holiday sales? Q4, Christmas, and the other holidays? We have any consumer based here? If you are, then you should have holiday wrapped up by the end of this month. Don't wait until October, right? So if you have Q4 going on, you should get on a calendar and figure it all out before the end of the month. I always say before the end of August, which I can't believe is right now. Maybe a little bit into September, but get it planned now. Don't wait. Q4 for holiday sales, if Valentine's Day is big, you should have that planned by November. Mother's Day by Valentine's Day. So plan ahead. As far as on a monthly basis, right? So this is how we work. We're working each month. I'll look at the calendar. I'll fill out as much as I can ahead for each month ahead of time. But on a monthly basis, we look at the holidays, and I'll show you that. We mark off the holidays. We fill out the calendar, all the content we're going to plug in. We then create the graphics, or pull in stories or video content. And then by the 15th of each month, 15th, 20th of each month, we have all of the content created, and we lay it out in the calendar. I'll show you, because I have some clients that want to pre-approve all their content. So I give them about 10, 15 days to review it before the end of the month and edits or whatever. And then once everything's approved, the end of the month, I spend an hour and a half for social media, at least, scheduling all of the posts, all of the content at once. So I don't even, what is today, 23rd? I don't even know what's being posted for me or any of my clients today, because I already posted it or scheduled it all 22 days ago. I don't have to sit here and like, oh my God, it's Wednesday. What do I need to post? Right? That as soon as you start streamlining and getting that content done ahead of time, right, and scheduling it all out at once, and the spontaneous stuff will come up here and there, and that's fine. But getting the bulk of it done, or now we're working on September, or September is actually kind of already laid out, and we're in approval process where needed, and getting ready to post it by the end of August. So once you start working ahead, that will get easier. It'll take a month or two to get you far enough ahead. But once you start committing to that, it will work. So with that, right, we're going to show you the calendar, and you'll hopefully use that tool. And then the creation process, this is Canva. Anybody here never touched Canva? Never used it? Raise your hand. Say yes. Are we all Canva users? Like, so if you're familiar with Canva, great. It creates everything you need. You can create video content and posts and online and offline materials. Plenty of uses for it. And pay for the paid version. Again, it's $10 a month or $13 monthly. Totally worth it. You get so much more in the paid version than the free version. Again, now I've only spent, let's say I spent $20 of your money on ChatGPT and $10 for Canva. If you pay ahead, not very much for tools that you'll probably use on a daily basis if you're DIYing it. Okay. And then a scheduling tool. Now there are a lot of, this is for social media in particular. I just started using Metrical. I was using Post Planner and later before kind of landed on this one because I like it. It integrates with a lot of different types of platforms, pretty much everything, and as well as advertising. So your Facebook and Google ads you can do here as well. Has great analytics. Was one of the reasons I changed. I wanted the analytics reports. But there's the Post Planner, later, Buffer, Monday, Sprout Socials, a ton of tools. Yes, you could go individually to Facebook or Meta to do Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. If you're using a lot of the platforms, Google, it will take a while to do that. Here I can multi-schedule all the posts. I can go in and say, okay, post it to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, and Instagram, and then just tweak it per platform. I can evergreen post, so I can schedule it today and say, just repeat this post once a month, every month now until forever. Okay, so whatever tool you use, if you want to use Metrical, there's that code Rachel. I got it from the gal who does the social media for them, and I think it's about 20% discount after one free month. I said I'm just been using it. I think you can bulk upload your social media as well. So yeah, use a tool, because again, your time is money. And if you're only using Facebook and Instagram, it might be easier for you just to go to Meta. Canva has a planning calendar as well, and you can schedule, but you still have to do it, schedule it for Instagram, schedule for Facebook, for LinkedIn. You have to still do it individually. Hootsuite as well. Somebody mentioned Hootsuite. That's been around for quite a while. Check out the different tools. We might all have different uses. I just happen to like the analytics on this tool, and that it can integrate with a lot of the different platforms out there and evergreen. So I'm just finding that, and even compared to Post Planner, I can post to stories and reels on this for Instagram and Facebook. So that's, one of the reasons I switched over. So make sure whatever tool you use hits all the marks for what you need it for. Okay. And as far as the calendar, so my content calendar, you're going to get to download. It's a Google Sheets document. I keep it simple. Use whatever calendar you want. I highly recommend using a calendar. So within this calendar, you're going to get a couple of content pages to work with. So you're going to get some hashtag day ideas to use. You're also going to get some content ideas. This is all about being consistent with content to get that reach and engagement on social media. So I'm giving you some different types of content, be the expert, personal, timely topics, etc., inspirational quotes. Plug all those in, and then I'll show you on the calendar how it works. Video content ideas, which some of these can be used for social media and email. Okay. Some of these may be more appropriate for social media, but you can do, day in the life or flash sales or, behind the scenes, and do some of those on email as well. So not just social media. Okay. And then you're going to get national holidays. So these are all pulled from a website called nationaldaycalendar.com. Okay. You can go there and find them, but I made it easier since 2021 or 22. I've copy and pasted them into my calendar. They're still hyperlinked to the nationaldaycalendar.com site. So if one of these holidays looks a little like, what does that mean? You can click on it and go to their site to see what that holiday is about. So check those off, have fun with them for content, use them for that engagement and reach. Some of them may make sense directly to your business, like my transportation logistics client Pearl. There is a National Logistics Day. There is a National Barcode Day. But we also use National Siblings Day because the CEO and her sister both work there. We use National Bring Your Pet to Work Day because the dispatcher brings his Chihuahua to work. You know, so some may be directly or indirectly related to your business, but, you know, have fun. Use them for engagement. You know, National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. What is your favorite PB&J combo as a kid? If you're asking questions, you're getting people to engage, right? Answer the question, and that's what gets you more reach. Okay, so you might not want to use a PB&J example, but kind of have fun with these as content. As far as the calendar, when you say we're about just Bill and Larry, we shouldn't, once I finish the calendar, it'll be a few more minutes after that. So I might go about 10 minutes over. So if anybody has to leave at top of the hour, you can, but we'll just go a little over. So this is when you see the calendar, it's gonna be mostly blank, right? I'm just filling this in for training purposes here. You'll get, the only thing you'll see on a January calendar is New Year's Day and ML King Day. The rest is for you to fill in, okay? So you can see the color coding at the top. We have holidays, whether it's traditional or fun ones, in red. We have email marketing in orange. Green are events, baby blue are blog posts, and dark blue are social media posts. So as far as social, kind of your probably biggest content here, is generally going to have 2 lines of blue per social media post. Okay, the first line is going to be what type of post are you doing? Is it going to be a hashtag day? Are you asking a question? Is it a holiday? All right, so you want to give kind of the general what type of post. The second line is to be the more specific. You know, be as specific as you can in the space, right? So on that first week, Wednesday the 4th, we have National Spaghetti Day, and it's going to be spaghetti with our kickoff blend wine. So I now know I have to pull a picture of spaghetti and a picture of our kickoff. On Thursday, we're doing a quote that's just summarize meal without wine quote. So I know to pull that and put it on the graphic. On Foodie Friday, I have planned out my butternut squash and apple soup with viognier. So now I know, again, for planning purposes, to pull those images. And then for archive, for next year, laying this out, you'll know, oh, okay, for January, we already did that soup pairing with the viognier. We'll switch it up to something different or recycle and use again. Right, so be as specific as you can for the purposes of again, for planning and archive purposes. And if you're doing more than 1 post per day, just expand if you're using mine, just expand it. So like an Excel file, add more rows, and then you have 2 more lines of blue for your second post for that day. For email, it works a little bit differently. So work a little backwards, right? So first we have to figure out what are we emailing about this month, right? We have a festival, we have a library, a case sale going on. And then we have a blog post. Okay, so we have all those laid out. We're also going to coordinate social media for those particular things as well. So working with the art and wine festival. So it starts on the 27th. So our very last email is going to be the day before. Okay, and then working backwards every week I usually do events 6 to 8 weeks back. We're sending out an email about it. On the case sale, it's only month, January case sale. So our first email is the 3rd and our last is the 31st. And then we're doing 1 each week in between. Okay, for the blog post, we're putting the blog post online on our website. We're emailing and we're doing a social media post for it. So again, we're coordinating everything here, right? Social media and emails. Once you start laying it out, right, it gets easier to plan. And if you're B2B, or some of you I think are, it works exactly the same, right? The color coding's the same. I might use, if it's my marketing agency calendar, right? I use holidays, National Stress Awareness Day, and I'll do an article on stress relief tips for entrepreneurs. Or National Philanthropy Day, I'll ask, how do you give back as a business? I publicize, I promote my classes. I do emails for my classes and my services, so I'm using exactly the same as I would if I was a B2C business. Okay? So it works for both. And then one last page on the calendar this is a newer page I just created. It's called the post page. I kind of call it the prep page. And this is where you lay out all of your social media in preparation. Maybe you're going to have, you want your content approved and you hire somebody or have somebody internally and you want to look at it. So this is kind of the approval page. So you can lay out your captions, your hashtags, your link, your image. And once you have it all laid out, you can then make it easier for you to publish it or schedule it, right? We line everything up here. I have the Google Sheets document laid out on the browser next to my Metricool. And I can just copy, paste, upload the picture, schedule, move on to the next one. And generally in about an hour, depending on how fast I'm going that time, I can have the whole month posted here. So laying it out might seem like extra work to do it this way, but once you see it all laid out, and maybe you have somebody who's working on the graphics, another person who does the captions and pulls the hashtags together. And then again, for archive purposes, you can look back here and pull, look at what you did previously. So utilize that post or prep page. I call them the calendar. So as you'll see, once you get a calendar, you can start coordinating everything. Makes it easier to create the graphic for the email and the social media post for your National Cabernet Day, for example, right? It's not the scramble of like, oh, we sent out an email, but we forgot to put it up on social media. It's all planned out there ahead of time, okay? And then the final one, this is the shorter one, measuring and optimizing, right? So we want to make sure all this is working, right? As I said earlier, this isn't a hobby. We want to make some coins here with this. So we have to make sure it's working, what we're doing, right? You want to make sure you're looking under the hood, so to speak. You're going to look at different things, different metrics, content marketing in general, how many downloads and views, perhaps, how many number of prospects, how many deals you're getting. On your website, you're looking at how many leads you might be generating. Some of you might be commerce, so you're looking at how many sales, right? Your conversion rates or your sales. If you're doing search engine marketing or pay per click advertising, number of leads, your cost per leader per click, and of course your conversion, your sales. Social media, generally it's more about brand awareness, not necessarily conversion, unless, a call to action perhaps, but number of leads, how many followers, how much engagement you get, okay? Maybe the referrals or conversion. Email marketing, how many subscribers, what's your open and click rates, what's your conversion, right? Is this working, right? Hopefully you have a call to action in your emails, right? How many clicks there are. So generally you want to be looking at all of these under the hood, right? So just like your accountant's looking under your numbers and making sure that they see more black than red, we want to make sure we're kind of also proverbially not seeing a lot of red, that things are growing and changing on your marketing. So all of your platforms that you use, your website, you have Google Analytics installed, right? You should, better. Social media, you have your insights and analytics. All of the platforms have their own. You should be looking at them. If you're not, have somebody look at them for you and, show you those numbers. If you're using a tool like Metricool, it will pull these reports automatically for you. I don't have to go to Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest and LinkedIn to look individually. It's all pulled into one tool. And I can print out beautiful reports as well. But all those numbers are there: engagement and reach, and how many new followers, and declines or increases are there. Google Analytics, make sure you're looking at that, see what's going on. Tons of valuable insights there on what's happening on your website. All right. So in closing, didn't go too much further over. Do you know who your customers are? You need to figure that out, right? Do you know where to find them once you know who they are? And do you know how to get them to the hand raise? It comes down to that kind of simple. Who are they? And how are you communicating with them that you're going to solve their problems for you? For them, rather, not for you. So with that, in closing, you're all welcome to schedule a free call with me. It's a 15-minute strategy call. I can answer any questions about your marketing, anything I can help, or questions that didn't get answered during this webinar. So scan that QR code or do callwithpatty.com, and I'd be happy to talk with all of you or any of you. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Bill, and I think Bill, he's ready to go. And I don't think I saw any new questions in here. So thank you, everyone, for your time. I'll hand it back to you, Bill.
Okay, thanks again. You can see why I said Patty's a premier presenter. I mean, every topic that she does, she just knocks it out of the park. Today's no exception. One of the things Patty did mention in the beginning about how important email marketing is, and always be collecting emails, because that's a really, really great way to get it to someone. If you're on Facebook, they have to find you. If you're on different platforms, they have to find you, but email is sending it out to them. So they don't have to take any action to find out about you. And it's a perfect segue into those of us who love Patty's webinars. Patty's going to be doing another one, Mastering the Inbox, again on September 28th. In the comments, I had put a link. I would ask you to register while it's fresh on your mind. We're all listening to what Patty has to say. Register now. You'll get alerts ahead of time. Invite other people. If you belong to a chamber of commerce, well, isn't it a good thing for you to share some great information that's going to help another business? These will be recorded. You'll get this recording in, let's say, 2 days, probably sooner. And there's a lot of information here. So little takes bite-sized pieces. Watch a little bit of it. If you missed the little piece, go back. This is valuable, valuable, valuable information. And although there's 2 hours of it, there's a lot of pieces of that you can glimpse from that. So I once again, thank you for everybody for attending today. Once again, SCORE is here to help. We're here to help you grow your business, gain employees, be successful. Our services are always free. And again, if you go to our website, you could either pick a mentor right there. Doesn't matter where you are in the country. You can find out about our other webinars if you go to local. But most importantly, sign up for Patty's webinars and tell a friend or two. Boy, they're going to love you with you giving them that information. So thanks once again, Patty. Knocked it out of the park. Our residency is continuing. And on September 28th, we look forward to seeing you all. And go ahead and register today so you'll get those alerts.
Yes.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Again, email marketing, as I mentioned, is the best return on investment of any marketing tool. If you doubt it, definitely attend the class. It's double of social media. So definitely my favorite class to teach is the email marketing. And I was going to say, add one last thing before we leave. Bill said, yeah, tell friends about my classes, but tell business friends about SCORE. It's we kind of joke, it's kind of the best kept secret out there. So all of you know, if you know at least one other entrepreneur out there who are not familiar, tell them about SCORE, because there's a ton of great services to help them in addition to the mentors and webinars and content. Make it not a best kept secret any longer. So that's my final ask. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, one thing, Patty, I did see there was a hand raised earlier. Do you see that still or no?
Yeah, I saw. Anybody have any final questions? You can ask them in chat or Q&A, either way.
Okay, I just
want
to
contact me. We can have a private conversation on the strategy call. So I'll answer anything you have there. And you will get the calendar, you'll get the recording slides, the content calendar, and the marketing worksheets. Make sure you print those out and fill them out. That's for yourself, and do the SWOT analysis and USP and all that. And again, send me your hand raised message via email. And I'm glad to evaluate it and help you recraft it. I've done that quite a few times with my attendees, so I'm happy to do that for you.
And again, for us, 2 days from now, within 2 days, you'll get all this information. We also have a YouTube page, which if you have missed any of Patty's webinars, they'll also be there too to see again. You know, in the background, when you're going about your day, take a little piece of this, sort of brainwash yourself of all these great tools that are available to you that Patty has shared with us. It's really it really is going to improve your business.
Definitely. Well, thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Bye.